was muted earlier. Welcome to Saturday Night Ride. It's good to have you. Got a live crew. Be joining them shortly. Philip, you may need a link, my friend. People been having trouble finding the link. Let's get in here. Let's get some flying going on.
Metal beads so that when it went around it was
we're live.
Hello.
We're live.
Hello.
No, you could have kept talking. That's cool. Yeah. Hello.
Sorry, Captain. The crew is all cutting up over here.
I actually like it. I think it's better that way, honestly. You guys should just be yourself and I'll just fade in, and then I'll say, hey, I'm here and you guys can finish your thoughts and whatever. And there's probably some lollygagging around.
Aye, Captain.
Not gonna lie, there's probably some lollygagging, some things like that.
Lolly's got a lag.
Yeah.
Don't gag. Don't gag,
have a lolly
Renee.
reflex, so.
Do not gag, Brad. Brad, we're taking you down.
Don't gag, Brad.
Yeah,
He's been ungagged tonight. Watch out.
All right, who's our co-pilot tonight?
Brad.
Okay.
Co-pilot. Sure.
Oh.
All right, Brad. Why don't you
get in that seat? You already got.
Brad, why don't you do a roll call for everybody who's listening tonight? Tell us who's on board.
Well, I tell you, it's a ragtag crew tonight, and I'm telling you, they're a wily bunch, and I'm going to get them in line. First, we got Renee over there with her hoops. How are your hoops looking tonight, Renee?
Oh, I'm surrounded. Lovely to be with everybody. I'm sitting on a yoga ball, just really bouncing it out. I might as well get some play in there while I'm playing with y'all on the ship. Big ship lollipop we got going on.
That's great to hear. I'm glad you're having a ball with your hoops.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We've also got Lori. Lori's back. She's been on the road. She's back in her prime seat now. How's it feel to be back in your natural habitat there, Lori?
I tell you what, it's good to not have the road going so fast.
Yeah.
It's good to slow it on down and not leave the house.
Yeah, Earthship time, right? Where you're sailing from the Earth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, we got Nate in the kitchen. He's cooking us up some dinner. What we got, Nate?
Hey, I got some green beans and a couple of leftover burgers.
See, who pairs that together but the Nate man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is a good mix. I got to admit.
That's right.
Mix. So I heard there might be a Yesenia somewhere, but I don't know if she made it on board yet. She's off tonight. I mean, if she's in the chat, but I think she's actually on the clock tonight. So yeah, for those of you in the area, you can find Yesenia. She's either going to be selling rock, or she's going to be a lady of the night, or she's casting high magic spells. There's got a wide variety of gigs going on. All of us have our gigs. And she is one of them for sure. So
she's Saturday Night Alive.
That's right. And it looks like Philip's here. Hey, Philip.
Hey, Philip.
Hello.
Right on.
Good to be here. How's everybody doing?
Doing great. How you feeling tonight?
Philip.
I am freaking awesome.
That is excellent to hear.
Well, Philip, we love your mug, but I'm going to turn your video off because it'll make our stream more intimate. Yeah, it's all good.
Oh, copy that.
But you're listening to Saturday Night Ride. Brad has introduced the crew, and really happy to be here. Typically, we would have a destination topic. This week was I honestly didn't even know if we were going to do the show today because there's just been a lot going on. I almost didn't do the show, but I also wanted to get in the rhythm of always be willing to fly, even when maybe there's not a topic or there's not so much of a pull. So I hope that anyone on the crew doesn't feel like they were sort of like impressed in the sense of Billy Budd, where you were clubbed and dragged on board. But it has been a heavy emotional week. There's definitely a lot going on. And I just thought it was a good idea to go ahead and fly anyway, just to see what happens. So this will either be a disaster or a really good time, or just a nice mellow cruise, which is also a really good time.
But I totally agree, James, just in that it's just the continuation and you can kind of bank on it. That's something will be going down on Dojo Earth, whether there's a theme or not. I think it's nice to have that, that something to look forward to, especially on a Saturday night. Not a lot of us are going out and hitting up the bars and, we're just kind of making green beans and hamburgers or sitting on a ball or, playing it's what we're doing.
Yep.
And so it's really fun to hang out together.
At home if I need to. I don't need to go to a bar and pay money to do that.
Yeah, no kidding. But that's kind of the thing that people do on the weekends. And I don't begrudge them. I certainly did that for a lot of my life.
Totally. So Bacchus is a form of vitriol. It's a good way to get to know the self by figuring out how not thyself. Yeah, there's lessons everywhere, guys. You're basically
Bukowski approved.
Wandering around in a dark room, just getting hit with baseball bats, and it's fun.
We've all got our thing.
It's our hobby. It's our hobby. So I a lot of wars. The funny that I actually was like, I did lose that friend I mentioned. This guy that got into a discussion about Charlie Kirk. He got really kind of turned like really worse.
Oh, really? Wow.
But it turned out, I think it was more related to a personal vendetta that one of his friends had with me, which honestly I've discussed her before too. So it's kind of, this is why I brought up, and I know you guys, maybe you're sick of me bringing this up, but this is why I keep bringing up things like maybe friendship is like a mode that we don't need anymore. And I'll tell you why, because it leads to a lot of weaponized empathy through blind loyalty, where
I like that.
One person is kind of allowed to have shitty behavior, but because they do it in front of their reindeer friends, right? that their reindeer friends kind of like totally prop them up and they never actually have to touch the ground, despite some pretty shitty behavior, I would argue, ultimately, because ultimately it was a discussion about how anyone who doesn't have empathy for Charlie Kirk, and I realize this is a real issue, but that anyone who wouldn't have empathy for that would be a piece of shit. And I think this is funny because the person that's saying, hey man, I have all the empathy in the world and you're a piece of shit if you feel this way is to me is like, you could not get more hyena vagina penis than this. And this is why it's such a perfect world to see, because I was bringing up last week or maybe the week before about how the scientists, when I just posed the simple post, you may have remembered it really was friendly. It was just said, isn't it interesting that we don't call it wisdom, but we call it science, that we don't call it gnosis, we call it science, because the etymology of science really just means the lore of what is known, that's what the etymology means. It's like the most scientific etymological breakdown of a word in a science forum, like that you could imagine. And I got like 88 like laughters, like hyena laughter, like you're so stupid, you have no idea, or what are you smoking, or you're on crack. And the exact same reaction came from someone who was showing virtue signaling, so to speak, their feathers of empathy, and that I made that expensive, and they were so appalled by that behavior. It's never been done from their perspective, is what I'm saying. It's never been done before. And I think that's most of what caught them off guard. And then you add in the other element of just the loyalty of friendship, which is fine. I'm just saying that does lead to some pretty bad behavior sometimes. And you end up with a perfect week where I'm just kind of scratching my head going, man, this is ironic as fuck. Like how all this is coming down.
Well, it's kind of interesting to engage or to not engage. That is the question. So if you're going for vibe, sometimes I choose to not engage. I look from this afar and I'm kind of aghast at somebody saying one thing and meaning something else. But if you point that out, it's just like, what does that prove? Does it increase my vibe or decrease my vibe, or am I not pollinating?
Well, I'll tell you, I definitely, because I'm definitely with you on that, Lori, as far as like most times these days I've learned for vibe, I don't engage. It's only occasionally I do. And I'll be honest, this week I didn't know anything about Kirk or anything like that till I saw you talking about it, James. And when I did, I became aware of it. And but I'll tell you, there's another way it can go. And in this case, it was someone I have known for years. But we engaged on that level, and I got the standard sort of, don't you have basic empathy? And we actually got into a conversation, and because we know each other, and I guess he had enough sort of patience and way to stay there, we did have a good conversation, and I did point out the aspect of the falsity of pretending the empathy, like how this blind empathy we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It's somehow all encompassing. And I was pretty easily, I think, able to demonstrate to him because, again, he does know me personally. And he does know that, I'm someone with empathy, but that I didn't respond with the empathy that he tried to shame me with vis-a-vis Kirk. He immediately, initially took exception, but very quickly I explained to him kind of what we're talking about, said, but my lack of empathy for Kirk, I was able to show him, what about the empathy for, like you were saying earlier, people die every second of every day.
Right.
And kind of pointing that out to him and explaining that because the media has put this in your face, and now because it's all over your social media, you feel you have to speak up and show everyone that, oh, yes, I have empathy here. Mm-hmm. And then he ran into me, who was not giving that standard empathy, that I was able to show him that I said, oh, I do have empathy. But to me, the falsity of pretending I'm going to demonstrate my empathy when the media and when my social media and everybody around me in the room tells me, signal your virtue and show me your empathy here. And I say, but what about all the empathy that you don't have for everything else that we know is going on in the world every day? It's so selective that it becomes a performance empathy.
Yeah.
And that's what I really think it is around that.
Yeah. A soldier fell off a ladder June 6th in, forgive me, some Scandinavian country, I can't remember, and broke his neck. That was the last veteran casualty. And it does make me think those things. You really do have to look at that stuff. Air Force 2 carried the body of Charlie Kirk across the country. He's on tour. That carcass is on tour, and that carcass is on tour to encourage people to fight in the military, to become a hero, to engage in punditry, and to fight for the mantra that America is the greatest country in the land. And it's interesting that this discussion over empathy, people are saying that you, the public, have no fucking right to use his carcass for your political motivations, right? And that the only accurate thing you should be doing with his carcass is giving it reverence. And by giving it reverence and it being put on Air Force 2, it's literally doing the exact same thing that they're telling me I should not be doing with that body. And it really has compounded with me because I've thought a lot about this. I listened to Erica, his wife, who lost him. And her speech was very dry, was very meticulous. And it made me empathize with what their family life was truly like. Mm-hmm. And I think if I was to tell you this, you would be very quick to say, James, I can dismiss everything you said as fucking hearsay, and you're even painting some shit that isn't there. And I would be able to say, yeah, you really could be right. I could also, though, tell you that I've done this before, where I've empathized with someone like this, where I've compassionately listened, and I've seen things, and they've been very much real and true. So I get it. This could be wrong. But when I put together that Charlie's wearing a vest, it means he knows that his life is in danger. And he chooses to be away from his family in order to be in the spotlight in a very unsafe, uncivil way that is not even necessary. Charlie Kirk's mantra is, I am here to have one-on-one engagement with students to encourage them to join the political process. And that if that was truly what he was about, he could do that in the library conference room. He could do that in an intimate setting that would be more revealing, not less. And when you picture him purposely placing himself in this kind of environment while he has 3-4-year-olds, and then when you compound that with what Erica, his wife, how she's holding herself during all this, I can see through their windows. I can see what's happening in that house. I can see someone that does not wake up and go, holy shit, I could get shot. Why don't we change how we are going to do this? I want to live to save my family, to see my family. I don't see that person. I don't see how easy that would be to do. Seriously, this would be so easy. I think it would actually be better. Unless you have this fetish for crowd, unless you have this fetish for being seen, unless you have this deeper desire to be the spotlight. At that point, you want to be an icon so bad that you will disassociate from everything else around you that might stop you from being there. This sonar that I'm telling you about, which could completely be a personal hallucination built on some negative traits in me that people say that I have because I have no empathy. It could be that. It could be all those things. I'm willing to entertain that. It also could be that I'm right. And that in order to make it this far, you're going to have to dope. And this is how you dope. This is exactly how you do it. The same way Donald Trump smears ketchup on his ear. Seeing the reactions to this, watching the truth movement has had an interesting reaction to this. I know it's there's a lot of different facets to how the truth movement would necessarily react, but there are certain pockets of that. One of them is, I can't believe how stupid people are for thinking that this is real, that this actually happened. And that inside of that is a huge faction, not all of it, that's saying Israel did it. And it hit me today as strong as a book in the face that this is exactly what I'm talking about. America can't even take responsibility for their own homicides. We have to say Israel did it. And when you start to look at the truth, that portion of the truth movement, I see a little boy, right, who's afraid of responsibility, who wants the country to grow up, who wants to be sovereign, but also doesn't want to let go of this universal bulletproof vest that means I can behave as shitty as I want as long as I say Israel did it. Like, as long as I just come back to that.
As long as you have a scapegoat.
Yeah, so you end up with and I know this is very self-serving, but I don't know what else to do. All of my hallucinations, all of my simulations for what's happening are confirmed by all this. Like, confirmed really strongly. And watching the reactions come down, it's just like, man, I don't know if anyone even wants to see this. Like what I'm seeing, how I'm seeing it.
Do you think it's a catalyst? It's like a fire keg. It's it's set up for a reaction. And I'm seeing not reaction of like people having empathy, like a collective, like conservative, the empathy of the conservative Christian, that I'm seeing hateful.
Yes.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
It was the level of what I'm witnessing on the people that I have, I like Nate's comment about not culling your group so that you can see what's going on in the collective. And I'm horrified by how predictable the people are in this situation that was like kind of like, if not set up, he set it up. It was like doping is a setup in some way. You know, I don't want to go all conspiracy theory, but it's definitely weird.
Yeah, well, maybe
something's really weird.
Lori, maybe it's even more potent than conspiracy. Like, it is conspiracy theory, but it's more like torque. Like, Charlie wanted to be this, right? And
I want to grow up to be this kind of torque.
Yes. And he has that. He did it. He freaking nailed it. Well, like fucking A, dude. He nailed it. Like, exactly.
It was like a Tucker Carlson on steroids.
Yeah. And if you think about it in that context, all he did was hit the bullseye. That's a weird analogy, I know, but it's like that is that his faith being that accurate, being that powerful. Remember, and before we think about, I just want to remind people, I've told you before, I think that we purposely withhold our own power because of how dangerous it is and how we can get carried away. So there's a meta us behind us, right? That's purposely squeezing the tubes, limiting the garden hose, I should say, like cranking the garden hose, so to speak. And that in certain moments and certain postures, you're able to break through because this meta you agrees with this torque, agrees with this belief. And so if you were to showcase to yourself your desire to become that icon, to dope that much, to literally place yourself in that mercy seat, then maybe he's tapped into a consensual divine agreement and recording himself in that constellation, right, of the archetypes, because that's what he was striving to be.
And he did. Now he is a forever archetype.
Oh, yeah.
And now, like, you know, if you were talking about like the eclipse season, this is like assassination season. Like we had that in the 60s. We had like the Martin Luther King, JFK, and then RFK. We had all of that. And it's like kind of like a deja vu. It's like whatever, the ketchup on the ear. But that was definitely something really weirdly fishy about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I remember that when I was 5, looking at it and saying, there's something not right here.
Yeah.
And it's even like John Lennon, like that whole Chapman thing, you know, like that was really weird. I mean, the whole thing is just weird. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is weird. And I'm not even following it too closely.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, nothing's broken. So what do you think it is it's definitely a powder keg in what I'm seeing socially. It's got people really, really riled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of weird, I think, in like the sense of everyone accusing themselves or each other of being barbaric in one way or another, but yet everybody's taking sides in this barbarism, and it's just kind of disappointing. One example of that is like people bringing up, his children, and like we established before, we don't know this person, so his children may have a completely different point of view. As someone who lost their father when he was 7, I can say, he was a military man, a very successful one. And, hundreds of people came to his funeral with all this praise and all this stuff about him. And from what they said, I was wondering if they knew him at all.
Wow.
So, yeah. It felt weaponized in that way too. Just like, why would you wish that on the children to like hang them up as meat for everybody to sort of chew on? Mm-hmm. It's not right. It's just as barbaric as saying like, "Oh, I'm glad that happened to him." Or to me, it's really strange.
That kind of thing really wrecked my brother. My brother's father was blown up during the Vietnam War. He was a pilot, and my brother just, for the rest of his life, failed because I don't know what it is, this self-fulfilling thing that he would never be as good as his father. He could never be as smart to be a pilot, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's the weird thing about holding the children up in that regard, because that was constantly what I think people latched onto, to say sympathy for the children and not admitting the fact. And that was the point that I think finally drove it home with my friend, because I was pointing out the fact that this man, just like, people join the military, and I'm not judging them in terms of their choices, but what I'm saying is their responsibility in it is they are choosing, for whatever reason, to place themselves in harm's way, if you will. And the point I was making to my friend was the fact that, and children, because that's what we're bringing up, I said, children, innocent children die every day in this world, and nobody blinks an eye, but they didn't put themselves out in the spotlight, whereas this gentleman did. And so, again, that's his choice, but to sit there and lament and say that me not having the proper empathy for a man who willingly put himself out there in that regard, and saying that somehow is more noble than, like I say, innocent children across the world who have no choice and who are brutalized, but we just accept that as part of the world. Mm-hmm. And so, go ahead. So yeah, like I was saying, it's just the remarkable fact that he's becoming an event, and like flying him across the country as if his life is more noble because because again, he saw benefit to himself in putting himself in that spotlight because he wanted it, and I don't hate him for it, but he's not innocent of the fact that he put himself on that stage in that way, and the way he was doing it was also pointing out sort of what he felt was the wrongness of people that he disagreed with. And again, the way that they use that to encourage military service, if you will. And military service, and I have not served in the military, so I can't speak from experience there, but the energy there is, I know people who have joined under this guise of, I want to be a hero.
Yeah.
And
I can confirm that. Yeah.
That's a dangerous game.
Yeah, that's why the one guy got kind of mad at me today, and I realized when I saw his profile, he was a career Navy, still in uniform, like his profile pic. So I was like, well, of course you're going to be mad. Like, of course you're mad that I wrote this article or did this, thing on it. Like it would make sense. Look at what I'm saying about you. Look at what I'm saying about what you've done. It's just so weird that it's like, it's completely moral to, you've got a bully, and you've got half the school campaigning for the bully. You've got half the school taking their lunch money and giving 40% of it to the bully. You've got these same people arguing back and forth, not over whether or not the bully should be there, but on who the bully should beat up next.
Is it learned helplessness? Could it be learned helplessness, perhaps?
Well, it's not even helpless, because every other day you get to go out to the schoolyard and watch the bully beat up another kid.
Right.
And every time you do, you get off and high and you're like, USA, USA. And it feeds you. And it feeds you so much that you honestly develop a fetish for anti-bullying in your community, in your own country. You develop a fetish for, we are the anti-bullying capital of the world. And the whole time, this is what you're doing. You're literally hiding behind the label of, we are here to stop the rest of the world from being bullied.
Yeah.
By us bullying them. So
right.
It's completely self-serving.
Yeah, we're the biggest bully in the world.
Yeah,
and right now, if you looked at the stats, there's the lowest recruitment ever for the military.
I know. Good on us.
And it's like, and then I'm looking at, like, I didn't know this, but when I was of age, women could go into the military, but they didn't go to combat. And now they're in, like, equal opportunity. They're trained killers, just like it's like, it's mercenary. Yeah. and it's like this patriotism of this mercenary, and then it's like there's some kind of cannibalism going on in the morality of the psyche. How can you, like, as a person that gives birth, be for war? I mean, it's so weird.
It is.
I'm like,
Yeah.
That's a funny thing to me about how so much of this it becomes a religious or Christian thing, if you will, that was part of what was going on. And I kind of wonder again, it's like, what is your idea of Christianity or Jesus or any of this stuff, when your idea of how you should express that can include, war and violence in that sense of a justifiable.
yeah, it's like a crusades. Like we're back to these crusades.
Yeah, the anti-bully crusade, and we will destroy everyone who tries to stop us.
Winning team.
Yeah, but and guys, I'll tell you, this is a harder lesson, but I don't even mean this disrespectful. It's probably hard to take this any other way, unless you were in my heart. You would know I really don't mean it this way. I just think this is what life is. It's the same way with the Rottweiler. My dad probably liked this shit. Probably was into it. Probably really dug the fact that he could go fucking kill somebody, and that he was wanted around. People were giving him benefits. He could drive around a base, get a free haircut whenever he wanted. That was all it took. Like I don't see him as a victim or a mind control.
No, it's like installing a free dopamine button that you can just
exactly,
have
Nate.
everybody around you hit whenever you want.
Everyone did that to him.
That was what they were doing.
Yeah, everyone opened his skull up and they put the wires in, and he said, "I need more wires, man. Put them in." And this, it's a consensual fucking relationship.
Yep.
And I just want, I wish that, I think if more people knew that, they would see a little bit more of my subtlety, where I'm halfway between what do you do with this dead body? Do you use this dead body, or do I just fucking say nothing again and watch this opportunity go by? Because I can spit in the face of what makes this popular, and all I have to do is do what I did, say what I said, post what I post, live stream what I live stream, and just hold my spine during it. That's all it takes. It's just a little bit of pollen. I could have done better, but I'm just saying that's all I have to do.
You did great.
I don't have to go anything else, and that's it. And when you notice how many people don't do it, when you notice just how much flack you get, particularly from the truth movement, because I really pissed at that movement because they always let me down. They're always so, and Israel and this, and we got to fix this, and this. And then here's the opportunity, guys. It's right fucking here. There goes the body. You going to help me throw these Molotov cocktails? Because this is the time to do it. Like, this is just how I feel. Like, this is the time. Why are you not doing it? And the answer is because it's not popular. The answer is
anti-immediacy too. They're not looking for the immediate response.
Sure. And that's such a great excuse. That's such an inflammation of time, right? You're inflaming yourself against time because you're like, hey, we'll do something, but not right now, James. You just came in a little bit too soon, James. That's all.
But that's the opportunity it affords, I think, the greater collective, is when they have the installed reaction, because that's, again, why I say it's performance empathy. It's because it's laid out there like that. Like, here's the chance to perform it, and just, again, like, and see, it's just a one-on-one thing. Just one friend of mine that this engagement led to, but where I will say, I think he at least walked away from it with a little bit of reflection of what we're talking about here, just because I held that line of pointing that out and showing him that, look, is this really about empathy? And to have him consider his reaction to what was loaded into that.
Yeah.
I see the rise of performativeness on social media, on Facebook. People are making up stuff about themselves in some cases. And then, so It's like we're becoming a simulacra of a culture.
Yeah, and I actually like that though, Deb. I actually think if we know who we are, those lies are our wings. They're our shell, and we're actually better with them than we are definitely better than we are trying to pretend they don't exist. I'm not saying you do that, but I'm saying that, culture does that. They pretend that no one lies.
They do.
But if we could get to the point,
posture, right?
Yeah, if we could get to the point where we do socially accept that everyone lies, I think suddenly the truth becomes suddenly on the table. Like for the first time, truth gets on the table because it becomes okay. So I kind of like the flair, is what I'm trying to say, right? The flaunting that you see, I actually kind of want to see more of that.
The flaunting of lying, you mean?
Well, the flaunting of, to me, it's the flaunting of fantasy.
Okay.
And it's the flaunting of fantasy without them even knowing it's a fantasy. See, keep in mind,
I see.
Just like we talk about how a long time ago, maybe you didn't know if you were drunk or if you were turned on because you were just in a different state of being. Same thing for when you're lying. What if we're in that Greek area where just a lot of us just don't even know? We don't even know that we are possessed.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, this is what I think Jesus was all about, because that blind man at the well, I think, was such a crucial. For me, it showed me that this is all he did. I don't mean all,
for him.
But it was so huge because because no one else could do it. And it's kind of like that's what it is right now with lies. It's the same thing.
I'm seeing this play out so beautifully, to see these postures, these suits that people wear. And then I'm like, it is the most beautiful blooming, because you can actually hunt it. You can see it. It's so obvious.
Yep.
Aquarian age.
Yeah. And it's like, then you can get to this place where you can be in compassion for the realness one-on-one with someone you know. But the collective one that's going on right now, that's a whole other,
Well, that's such a great point, because I think that is the distinction of in one-on-one disengaging from the collective and getting to, okay, but where are you? Because that's what we react.
I could have empathy for somebody who cared for that man. One-on-one, I could, but not in a collective.
Yeah.
Because the collective is not,
it's
the
empathy removed
did not know this man
is very real, right? Empathy removed, because you have direct empathy for the person that has empathy. That's very possible, right? It's easier. But see, I think that we are making an assumption that, God, it's going to sound horrible, but it's just, we're making the assumption that treating furniture, I'm talking about cultural furniture, okay? Like the briefcase or the blue dress, right? And sometimes it's a dead body. It's a homicide. It's an event. I'm talking about that kind of furniture.
Right.
That when the populace has something like that, something tangible, that you can, that culture plays with, they play with it. The same way you watch sadly a cat play with a mouse, right? Or a dog play with an animal, and you're just like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you? And that's what we're doing.
And
we do that too.
I tried to rescue the mole. I tried to rescue it from the cat's mouth, and it bit me. Yeah.
Or then you end up having to put it out of its misery because you intervene. It's I'm just telling you, it's a minefield. It's
right.
And I want us to relax and accept that we do this too, the same way that we lie. And I want you to think about that, believe it or not, this is a form of value. If we're going to take a carcass and use it to psychically be an astringent as it's walked around, in other words, as people hear about this carcass, it allows each person that was on the brink of wanting to express something to express it. And that when you look truly at what's happening in culture, and I say this meaningfully because the people that are like, you're a piece of shit if you don't like Charlie Kirk, like they don't like Charlie Kirk. They don't even fucking know him. And that this is just showing you exactly what I mean, that it's never been personal, and it never should be. It's medicine. It's medicine used personally, and we will never know how each person uses the dead body, but fuck, it has some use. And not only does it have use, but it's being used by a group where the individual would say, I would never use that, or how dare you use that, or you're horrible for using that. The same way the government weaponizes our empathy, and we insist, I would never weaponize my own empathy. But if we were to learn to withhold our empathy, we would then learn to weaponize ourselves.
You know what I remember?
For the very first time,
distinctly.
we would become moral creatures, basically.
Right now, very distinctly, I remember when Bobby Kennedy got killed. And I said to my mom, now what happens? Because he was the last hope of the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. And she just was crying and she said nothing. And that was the last time I believed in a story like that.
Well, I'm gonna look back to Look magazine and Life magazine, and these times they actually broadcast live TV of the Vietnam War, of live combat, and we were broadcast that in this to collect this some kind of thing, and then when you're taught that you have to eat your food because people are starving in China, or something like that. There was some kind of world collective siphoning of attention or empathy or horror or terror, or that napalm child running down the road.
The little girl. Oh my God, that's just.
Yeah. And then you hear the story.
Yeah.
As an adult, she tells this story of what was going on, and this whole thing, I think it's like we're having a wash, rinse, repeat.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a lot of what life is.
That's what I was feeling.
This is the festival. See, this is the Rome every month, right? It's a giant wooden dildo. They're going to run it down the street, and everyone gets to. This is what I mean, and I want you to picture that this is called frenzy. And that frenzy is how an organism releases unwanted electricity. And that the frenzy is the same way. You guys probably know how the duck does that shake, like that really kick-ass. That's an emotional, a low-budget emotional, like if you have a low-budget emotional system, that, believe it or not, when two ducks start to fight, that you're waiting for someone to do that. That once that duck does that, he's released that power. He's released that charge, and everyone else can relax. And that we would need a George Floyd coffin. Let me use that because there's been enough time. But I want you to know that Charlie Kirk is the same thing.
Yeah.
That culture needs the golden coffin, and that it's not that a particular underground hidden hand group said this will now be in everyone's mind. I want you to picture that is a very flawed look at nature, to think that it's a singular source that makes everyone cling on to George Floyd, because I think that the truth is much more organic than that, and that the organism itself picks a candidate, and that candidate has all the right characteristics to go viral, the same way, guys, that a video has all the right characteristics to go viral. So the furniture is a post. It's a meme. The George Floyd is a meme, and it is popularized and spread purely from its own vibration. And if we're going to say that the secret controllers are doing this, we have to now say that they're the ones that told us which memes to love too. And I don't think that's the case. There's
a key point.
A different kind of hierarchy in meme culture. I do not mean to call him out, but Nate is like the king of fucking memes. People know that. They just do. No one argues with that. It's just you wake up in the morning and you're just like, okay, let's see what Nate's got. And it's just true. This is a different economy. Do you understand? It's a different economy. It's not based on a strategic fashion lord. It's based on the organic nature of things. So
I don't think they ever tried to hide it. I think, they had people like Edward Bernays, the nephew of Freud, who kind of like very out in the open taught people how to manipulate your mental state and your emotional state, and what components needed to be pulled on and what recipe to kind of evoke a certain outcome. And it's not like being hidden at all. I mean, I think that there are people behind that particular assassin. I just don't think it matters, because the underlying thing is we're all, and the people that think they're least subject to it are generally very easy to fool.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It's crazy that, like,
very gullible.
Yeah, it's just like so weird that like this marketing has almost become an egregore. It's like an entity into itself, and I don't even know if anything's running it at this point.
Well, I think it's definitely. In fact, Zephyr just said this in chat, and he's really nailing it. It's the cherry picking. It's true. Organically, the cherries grow themselves, and organically, the people at the top know which ones to pick.
Yeah, right.
And it's exactly the same, right? Which means that typically the coffins that are willing to dope are going to be picked. The furniture that is more dopeable is probably going to get picked more. And so you're looking at what is George Floyd. I mean, fuck, that had every element in it. Charlie Kirk has every element in it. All these things have all these elements in it. The Buddhist who, guys, it wasn't just, he didn't just set himself on fire. Like, his most trusted assistant helped him after all the school children came. And this wasn't like, we're going to fuck these they were invited and they came. This was not like we're going to surprise them. This was we're going to watch.
It was like a public hanging.
We're going to go watch our wise man set himself on fire. He's going to immolate himself right now. And so they all gather in this South Korean city, I think. And he comes out of his what looks like a New York cab, like a 1950s cab. He sits down in the square in the middle of the street, and all the traffic is blocked because the school children are gathered around. And he douses himself basically in napalm, and sets himself on fire. And it's not a terror event. Guys, it's not.
That's the fact.
It's not a terror event. If you watch the pictures of that, please hear me. If you see the pictures, you're going to be like, "Oh my God, I'm so horrified." But if you look at the faces, that's not a terror event.
And
do you think it's an initiation?
He didn't even move a muscle.
No, he didn't.
It was all so peaceful, and
it was reverent. It was
and I would argue it was more an initiation in the sense that the fact that, like we talked about recently, about the fact that the Freemasons, we were talking about that, they didn't discover the symbols, nor did they hide them. It's that nobody else wanted to claim them.
Yeah. And
they did. And again, just like we're saying, it's not like they're planning the events or setting them up. It's simply the fact that they understand, again, the pulse of where everyone wants to go. Yep. And they're just tapping into that.
Yep. It would be no different than if we were in Rome and we saw these evil eyes and we were hungry for power, and we would say, we are the evil eyes. We are the Illuminati.
It's really interesting because then it's a vibe.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. This is why it's harvesting. This is why the first time I claimed 666, the first time I claimed 666, I was terrified. I literally was. I was just like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
It's a vibe.
And then I was in McDonald's one day, and I ordered something from their menu thing, their automated menu, and it spit out a ticket.
The human meat
that you have to have the number on, and it was 666. And I was
mark of the beast in the burger.
And I was holding this. Well, to be fair, I was ordering fries, but anyway.
Okay.
It was 666.
I missed the Joker though.
And I was holding it in a sense of a parchment of power. Like this was when I just first got into this, and I was like, oh my God, I got it. This is my 666. And I was beaming over it. And when I went to get the order, the lady goes 666, and she sort of like creeped out. And then she made eye contact with me, and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about this." And I was just like, I drank her with a straw.
Oh my God.
It was exactly the embodiment that I wanted at exactly the time when I claimed that. And I claimed it the same way I've done this before. This is how this psychic magic works. And every time I've had 666 since then, I've been like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that."
I think, James, I would flipped it and said 999, please. Thank you.
That's such a big thing, though, like you said, James. Reaching the point where, because I had the same thing where it's like, instead of sort of being afraid of it, just like because that's what we're all kind of, that's what's programmed into the mass at large, right? But when you personally sort of step across that and be like, see through that, it's like, I'm not afraid of it, but I recognize what it is in the popular psyche.
Well, see, sorry. I just get so intense. I see, in my mind, I actually was afraid of it, which is why I think I powered up, which is why I swallowed it. Because I really was just like, you can't just do this, you can.
That's alchemy.
I had told myself that you can't just do this, because if you do this, I mean, you really have to, you're going to pay for this the rest of your life, in the sense of you have to own this, is what I remember feeling that way. And I remember having the conversation, but I've said this before. I've had some serious fucking like calls to the table with God before, where I've been able to put him in certain ultimatums. It's only a few things, but seriously, I've been able to implement a few ultimatums that for example, I can prove that there's no such thing as time travel until I die, that all you guys are safe, that time has full integrity until I die, because of a pact I made with myself, where when I was 11, I was really struggling, and I was like, look, just make this one promise and I'll keep going. If there's time travel, I need you to come right here now and tell me about it. And it was crickets.
I have the same thing.
I have these ultimatums, and one of these ultimatums I made with God about, I made this with Jesus. I made this about hell too. I literally remember saying to God about hell that, hey, look, I just want to have a talk to you. Okay, look, this burning in hell thing. Look, if you're going to do it, I feel I probably would deserve it, and I just want to burn effectively. And I'm not trying to get away with shit, God, but I just need you to know that I'm tired of not being able to just relax in the knowing that, look, I remember actually telling God, I kind of want to burn for the shit I do that's wrong. And, if you don't see me out here trying, or if you don't think I'm trying enough, then, you probably know what's best for me. So... But God, I'm gonna fucking jack off right now, okay? I don't need your shit right now. I'm trying to make a joke there, but yeah.
I know you're watching me, and I know maybe it's not good, but it's gonna burn me. Make it effective.
I've had these conversations with the magic. I've had these. I actually I summoned a demon once in my bedroom because it terrified me. I was so scared. I was reading Crowley and all this other stuff. And I was just like, you can't just summon Azazel. And I'm just like, it fucking says so right here. And I'm like, yeah, you won't. And I remember turning the page like, I'm not going to do that. And then I was like, you pussy. I'm sorry, but I was just like, that's what I was. It was just like, why don't you go back? And I was like, this is not happening. It's like, oh, yes, it is. Turn back the page. What are you so fucking afraid of right here?
Oh, my God.
And I was just like, I don't want to fucking summon a demon. And I was like, why not, James? And I was stumped. I was just like, fuck. If I want to, this is really important.
That's power.
I don't need to take the microphone, but seriously, hear me on this, because this is the only opportunities that I've found to power up magically.
Yep.
Is to physically find these opportunities and hopefully have enough calories to notice and to do the right thing. And to make a decision about, holy fuck, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to summon this demon that's 500 years old in my den? I live alone. My dogs aren't even with me. Like, there's not, I got no protection at fucking all here.
Yep.
Immediacy.
Yep.
It's that urge.
I did that with the Ouija board.
Yeah.
I called it in with the Ouija board. I had another person there, and we said, knock 3 times, and the sure as shit, it knocked 3 times. And I'm like, this is real.
Wow.
This may sound weird, but I think that brings us closer to God.
Well, that's how you get a poltergeist.
It's also how you get rid of poltergeists. Yeah. Yeah. To me, it's all mechanics, and it would be the only mechanic that you could find to even diagnose, tap, measure, holographically, exercise, right? All those things would require you to have a tangible means of surgery. And this is why I use that word necromancy, because if you think about, that's all Jesus was doing, was just energetically using his fingers to point at demons that no one else could see. The lying of I'm blind is he's the only one that could see that. And so you have to think about what the demon is it's like that. The old Greek version of that word demon. The spirits are invisible, not because they're invisible. It's because society doesn't see them. That's what it means. And so now you can tap into demonology because you just do what I've always done. Maybe I've just never told you, but look how easy this formula is. Take the demon page and then take cultural fears page and then watch when I overlap them. Holy fuck, it's the seal of Solomon. And it's like, yeah, I know, right? Watch what happens. You can dial, I'm going to dial Azazel, right? Do. I'm pressing the triangles. And then Azazel comes up, and then now you can talk to him because you realize all you're doing is holographically talking to smells.
Yep.
You're just talking to the chemo signatures in the air, but you need a medium of belief in order to tune them, which means that you are able to psychically change the chemical signature of the air in your room. You can make it smell a different way because you're able to ionize it. I'm not making this up. You ionize it with your fucking brain. Your dolphin sonar, your frontal lobe plasmates it. It boom, it pings it like sonar. And you occupy your room with ion smell.
And did you know that you could kill yourself doing that? You can have this vagal response and scare yourself to death.
Oh, wow.
I saw this person on the table. We're getting ready to do a catheterization. And it's like, you pretty much stay awake. They put the catheter in your groin and, they'll look at your heart. And the person was like terrified.
Oh, wow.
And they proceeded not to give him something to calm him down, and the guy killed himself. He vagaled his vagal nerve, and he just exited.
Wow, he let go, huh?
Exited.
I've never heard of this. The ejection seat through the vagal.
Yes.
Wow, Lori. I've never heard this.
So it's like these smells that we're smelling now. Like I was traveling across the country and I was so hungry. Last resort, there was only a McDonald's. It was desert. I was really rural. Ended up with a friend of mine. We're going to this McDonald's and it was one of those screens like you're talking about, the 666.
Yeah.
But we looked around and there was no humans in there. There was no humans in there. And by then we already had our order plugged into the machine and nobody was able to really talk. It was the weirdest place I have ever been. And I'm really glad I had another person there with me. And we both looked at each other and we said, there's no humans in here.
That is so creepy.
Right. But these kind of things are really real. They're real.
They're nice spirits too, though. You can connect with air spirits. You can connect with water
I know that. I've got connections with angels and stuff.
No.
Yeah, I'm not.
I disagree, Deb.
Scary stuff.
I disagree.
Well, it is Saturday night radio.
If you're gonna say there are nice spirits too,
you can scare people. Go ahead.
If you're gonna say there are nice spirits too, you're now condemning and saying that there are other spirits that are not nice. And I don't think that's true.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. But I think that these spirits you're looking at is just angst.
Yeah.
And it's just leveraged angst that's an ion of smell, and it can be dissipated simply by understanding this is ions. These are ion channels. You can take your hand and hold it palm out, and the Wunderschnitt, the spiral, right, the torus of your hand, you can use to emanate and send new ions out. You're aligning your blood vessels through intent. We just haven't learned this yet. You're aligning your blood vessels through intent. So your blood cells are aligning their polarity because they're spinning and all their polarities are pointing in the same way. You're creating you need to start thinking like a dolphin about how the dolphins use their bubble rings and they can play with them for like hours, right? And they create like little vortexes with their bubble rings. And that you're doing the same thing. It's just you've never thought to look at the ions in the room and to understand how much your field is affecting them. It's called vibe, so you do know. Like you do know when you get home and you're like, this place doesn't feel like me because maybe you've been out of town, and then you start to vibrate inside, and then you notice, oh, it feels like me. You go with the mailbox, you come back inside, and you're like, oh wait, this feels like me, right? That's the ion channels. That's
ion channels. When you lift and when you get those goosebumps, that is like your total ion channels lifting up and doing like this big energy wave. It is a form of protection to be able to pylo-erect.
Yeah, that pylo-erection.
It's understanding where the mercy seat is, and understanding that all of this, whether we want to think of it as demons or angels, is actually fulcruming through us, and understanding the power we have in that regard.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a technology.
I can't remember exactly what you call it, but on the Tree of Life, the Sephiro have the left-hand path side.
Yep.
What are those called?
It's the right and the left.
Clefo or something like that. Yeah.
But
Sephiroths? What are you talking about? Like the circles that you go into? Is that what you mean?
No, on the Tree of Life there are Sephiro. There's the Tree of Death too.
Okay.
And left-hand path magic.
Oh, gotcha.
And
see, okay.
The Sephiro hold the other side of the coin of the angel.
Okay, gotcha. So I want you to. I don't actually want you to do this. This could be fun though. If you think about what an angel is, right? It's like this, all these eyeballs, right? Like this floating.
A lot of eyeballs.
Right, a lot of eyeballs. And I want you to think about that all the pores in your skin are your angel. And that when you become closer to God, you become more angelic, which means that all of your pylos are erecting. All of your pores are charged and ready to be given intent.
Yes.
Right? And that your demons would be the gravitational black hole of that.
Right.
Terror.
Negative,
you could call it terror.
Pieces.
You could call it that, but
I think they're shadow archetypes.
Think about it as attraction, not negativity. Think about it as the demons are the things that you need.
Yep.
And so the eyes of God are too busy seeing. The ears, the opposite of the eyes of God are bringing. So your demons are always bringing. The alcohol is bringing alcohol, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The possession is bringing the possession. The sugar addiction is bringing the sugar. So this is how you bring things to you. So the demonology of how you do well in the world is your satanic immersion, which sounds evil, but the satanic immersion means that your pores feel worthy to bring things to them so that they can be seen. So the demon is the thing that's stopping a lot of us from fully emanating and bringing things to us because of our rejection of what we think demon means. So if you can become more romantic about the demon, which is why I summoned Azazel. I mean, we haven't even talked about it yet, but it was part of why I realized I had no choice. I had to do that. I had to. It took me a couple days. I was just like, you're fucking nuts. I literally said that. You're fucking nuts. And I went to bed.
So you didn't feel like it was the demon Azazel trying to tempt you to call him in?
Of course I felt that way, but I felt that way for a couple of days, Lori. And I'll be straight up with you. I also thought that was my immune system using that as an excuse to be afraid of my own power.
Oh, okay. You knew that already?
Yeah.
I'm telling you that this is why it took several days. It's literally why it took several days, because I was like, yeah, but see, if I do this, then if I do this, then I'm stuck forever. It's like, yeah, but then you do this, you're also stuck forever. And then I had a conversation with God, and I was telling God, it was like, well, here's why it seems like I have to do this, because this is what a gate would look like, God. That in order for me to earn the enough power and responsibility, I would have to prove to you that not only am I worthy of having this kind of power, but that I'm willing to be responsible enough to suffer the consequences of it too, which means, God, that it would have to look this way. It would literally have to look like Azazel. And in my mind, God was sitting there going, go on. Like he couldn't say anything. It blow it, right? They couldn't say, oh, you're doing great. It was just this sort of, I'm listening. So are you going to do it or not? And I even said that. I was like, and I realized if I ask you, I'm not worthy. This would destroy me. That if I call Azazel, I have to do it with full willing curiosity, the same spirit I would have at play. The same spirit that I would have when I probably called him on the jungle den when I was 4 and none of you guys were around. So you didn't even know that it was probably there. And I didn't even know, but I was just like, oh, Zazel Guzuba. And he's like, oh, you called my name. I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on? Like it probably happened more when I was younger because I was always playing more. So me saying no now to this, me being afraid of summoning this demon that's in this book, is exactly the excuse that I would need to forever seal my magic and never use it again for the rest of my life, which is why I said you're fucking nuts, because I realized that I had reached a very deep precipice in my hermetic journey, that I had to be afraid of Baal itself. And if you've heard my work called The Gifts of Baal, it all came from this.
Wow.
Because I started to realize all the power-ups that were coming. I know I'm talking way too much, sorry, but it's just like such a huge thing.
I just wanted to say that's those Klipot, the shadow powers of the Tree of Life. What you're talking about, those gates. Mm-hmm. I think that's what that is.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some gates to this. There's definitely some gates to this. And I think all of you, I think conspiracy theory is just that's a very easy, tangible gate. It's the same gate. Yeah. It's definitely softer. Okay. Good. Like hey, over here, we're summoning Azazel. And you're just like, okay, well, that's a different gate. But it really is the same. It's the same chain. It's the same tabernacle. It's the same.
Yeah, you walk up the layers and on a tree and encounter the powers and the shadow of the powers, and what are you going to do with it? And
it's like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, it is. Lori, that book really, really has moved me so many times, and I get really kind of scary prophetic sometimes when I fall back into it, because I'm just sort of like wandering around just like cleric dude or something, like I'm not very social.
But it's so profound because he faces the inferno, and that's how he gets his power.
Yeah.
Right. I like we were talking about dream. Go ahead, Brandy.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I'm jumping in here. First time talking.
Do it to it.
Yeah. Welcome aboard.
I prefer like the word intense rather than scary. I found that
there you go.
So I like we call nightmares I love nightmares. Like they're my favorite. That's like the dreams I want. I love just the intensity. I like, I'll typically have these a reoccurring nightmares where there's just this presence that I can't see, or it's behind me. Mm-hmm. And I usually wake up and I'm kind of upset because I'm like, I want to go back there. I want to look at that thing in the eyes. What was that?
Yeah.
And I think there's like, something about that where you look at these things and you see them like, and then you actually, that powers you, they almost like want to give you, they're offering you some sort of power or some power that you already have that you maybe haven't actually realized, but just facing them and looking them in the eyes. Like my wife she always has this recurring dreams about spiders. She's terrified of spiders, and she'll like wake up and she'll be in this halfway dream and like there'll be a spider web, over me, and she'll reach over and I'm like, man, let's talk to that spider. Like I want to get to know that spider and ride it,
Mm-hmm. I love that you brought dreams back up, Brenda.
You have to call it grandmother.
Because the dreams, I think, are the place where they come up where we can't consciously control it. And I like we were talking about that a little bit ago, because that's what I love what you're saying about nightmares, because the same thing, it took that ominous presence that I'm guessing a lot of us have felt in dreams.
Yeah.
I love that because, yes, I would wake up from those and wonder, okay, what is this thing I'm scared of? And that's something particular in terms of dreams. And you talk about the power. I had to have dreams over and over again of dying before eventually I started having those dreams. And I did reach a point where either it's the ominous presence or it led into that, where it was like I was dying again. And I started to become present in the dream and be like, okay, this is happening. And I stopped being so afraid of it. And I just accepted it. And so like in my dream, I was accepting that, okay, I'm dying again. Okay. Yeah. And as I started doing that, I had a dream where I was being chased by an assailant, right? And at one point, I sort of in my dream stood up in that dream space and said, no. And like just in my dream, I did that and it went away. And since then, I've not had ominous presence dreams. But it took that, I think, for me to finally stand up in that power, in that dream state of saying, I'm not going to be afraid of this anymore. Right. And as soon as I did, it dissipated.
Mm-hmm. I had falling over and over and over. And sometimes I would feel like I was hitting the bed even. And then I was reading about lucid dreaming and decided I was going to have to learn to fly, or else I was going to keep having these intensely scary. I have a very low arousal. You know how there's some people, it takes a lot to get them adrenalinated. It takes very little for me. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that you just go boo by a door and I jump 3 feet.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of like surfing. I mean, it's the word, the terror intensity, which is, I love that. It's much more accurate. Mm-hmm. The intensity has to be right there on that crispy edge for you to ride it effectively,
So don't you think that this whole thing that's going on right now is increased intensity in this world that we started with Charlie, and that intensity of how he wanted to live that intense. Mm-hmm. And then you see, this stuff, what this wife that knew he had this addiction to intensity. Mm-hmm. And it was inevitable, like what the intensity would bring, just like a person that does extreme sports. Yeah. There's a life insurance policy out on you, and it's pretty expensive because it's an expensive.
Yeah, Felix Baumgartner died not too long ago, guys.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that guy was one of those, and I don't mean this in a sad way. This is what I mean when I was talking a lot earlier about we need to really rethink death, because I'm not saying Felix Baumgartner. I'm saying, hey guys, Felix Baumgartner died. He literally.
Who is he?
He smacked into the side of a building on one of those paragliders or something like that, and missed his mark in Sydney. His most famous jump was he jumped out of this like space capsule looking thing. And it was like yeah, big, but he's done a lot. He's definitely a Red Bull guy, but yeah, he's pretty famous. But he just bit it, and it was a very small story. Like it wasn't like, typical, right? But it's like it that story wasn't big. It was all the other stuff that was big. Same thing with Evel Knievel, really. Like this is what I mean by I don't know if it's so bad that we're playing with dead bodies and corpses like we are, because I just think it's more natural than we think, and it's actually more about using the magic that's left inside them. It's kind of like a toy.
Yeah, and it's like the toy to wake people up.
Yeah, well, especially because think about how would you be honoring it by wasting that magic,
right.
Like ultimately,
it seems very Aztec, the Chipotle, and fall lock, and it just seems like this extreme of watching the result from this incident recently, just kind of how the divide is forming. I'm not really paying much attention to it, but I can feel it. But it kind of makes me understand what it would be like to watch that ceremony with those two divisions, the red and the blue, the red on the right and the blue on the left, right? I mean, it's all right there. It's in the soil. It's in the turtle.
Did tragedy go to waste, right?
Yeah,
it's the Heart Math Institute. There's a place called the Heart Math Institute, and they have measured it that when a school shooting, for example, happens, that exactly 1/3 of the people will have a reaction in one direction and 1/3 in the other direction, meaning they'll take that energy and run with it either in a negative way or a positive way. And then the other third don't give a shit. And the guy, the teacher said, and you don't want to be that third.
Yeah. Isn't that great how that mirrors in sort of all things like politics and everything else, how it breaks into
contagion.
Thirds like
you
that.
You just prove contagion too. This is how propagation and contagion works, and how viruses spread. It's energetic, informational music, right? And that's a beat, and it has a violent reaction sometimes if the beat's just right. So it's all very organic is what I'm trying to say. I know it's intense, but we also have an appetite for intense things. We're not very bothered by roadkill. If we had a society that was bothered by roadkill, I think that, that we would be saying, yeah, this is really fucked up, but we don't. It takes a George Floyd body. It takes something like that. And the fact that it's not okay to talk about it, the fact that people.
My husband still has to hear about it every time we drive by something dead. Not everybody doesn't notice it, but I take your point exactly, because people don't care.
Well, I'm not even saying they don't care. It's just. I mean, I hear your point. It's just if you really want to compassionate humanity, I just think you need to look at the same way we would compassionate when you're sadly watching a carcass be used by one of your favorite pets. It has more therapeutic value than we're able to admit. And,
there really is a lot of dead body uses, believe it or not. I read a book called Stiff, and she went chapter by chapter into all the things that they do with dead bodies. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. But that's what we learn, I think, so much from watching how animals do it, because they're not functioning on the level that we are trying to cognizate it. Yeah. But like the fact that we're talking about, because I've experienced this too, of wanting to step into sort of animal behavior. But I reached a point where I kind of started to feel like I'm not necessarily helping, or I'm doing more harm than good, because this is just nature doing its thing.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm almost trying to say my compassion is better because I'm stopping this animal for doing what's in its nature, without recognizing that is kind of nature.
Yeah, it's like such a beautiful. You cannot think of a better way to learn a lesson than to have all these animals around and to figure out what morality really means, when you're watching the system at work. And this is why we need to treat ourselves like animals.
squeaky toys work for dogs is because the dog thinks that the squeak is the animal dying.
You're
Right.
We dress it up as like a cute little stuffed animal that they're chewing on, and we think it's cute. We give it to them. That's like the dog is doing their instinct of killing it. That's what we're watching, and
and I've seen so many times
coded differently.
Absolutely.
It's interesting because I worked in the medical field, so I worked on when I was training, I worked in a lab where we did a cadaver. So there was all these people and this, like getting to face death. We don't face death in our society, and like I've never really seen a dead body, and I'm going to have to go there and dissect somebody's grandfather or something. So we had to impersonalize and make jokes. It was during the time when Abracadabra, I don't know, that song was on, and we would sing it before we went into the cadaver room, abracadabra, cadaver, just so that we could like not feel like we were cutting our grandparents up.
Sure.
And he's going to reach out and grab you.
Yes.
Oh, it makes sense.
I
love that about the dog toys, though, Nate, that you were saying, because that's so many times I've seen someone talking about the fact that I keep getting my dog all these indestructible toys, and they keep tearing them up, and I can try and get them something more sturdy, and they tear that up.
Nature.
Yeah.
You tell them good dog.
Right.
My cat.
But if a cat finds a mouse, then
I had one under my bed.
You hear the death
clutching my pearls.
I have a Manx cat, and she is a beast. She's so proud to bring. She'll go and get there'll be massive rabbits or bulls and all sorts of stuff. She'd bring them to the door, and it used to be like, but now I'm like, all right, like I see you, I appreciate you, there's beautiful. Also all sorts of theories as to why they do that. There's theories that they are like trying to they're like, well, what are you eating? I don't see you go kill anything. So but I don't know. I've learned to
calling you a bitch, right? The cat's coming home going, hey, bitch.
You
can't even do this, can you?
I think for cats, they think you're either their parent or your child. So if they're your parent, they're going to be bringing you some food.
Right.
They do. I read that somewhere that they thought that we were really big, dumb cats.
They're probably right.
Right. Yeah.
That's true.
I really do wish I had a cat when I was traveling with the mouse, because then I wouldn't have had the mouse.
So cruel.
I'm sorry, but it's like if I have a protector, I don't think I would want not to have a protector.
It's nature.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, also the cat the mouse never would have decided, this is a good place to be. Yeah, I could use that now. I've got my mice are now, they're openly just out on the floor. Just they say hi. They're like, hey, did I get any mail? Someone forward something
like that.
So
you got mouse mates, James.
I know.
You got mouse mates.
There's a little bit too many.
He's got more than mouse mates. He's got gophers and possums and everything else, right?
So cute.
Yeah, I got a lot of great little visitors. The mice, though, let's probably need to say no to that. There's
Well, they have a lot of babies. They have them like 4 times a year.
Yeah.
A lot of babies.
Yeah. What I'm planning on doing.
Don't bother to toilet train them either.
That's the biggest problem, right?
Yeah.
You got to toilet train your mice.
Yeah, I've got this tube.
You're not going to have any food.
They run in this tube, and I've set this tube up. It's a really big shortcut for them, and so it's above my head, and so they run through there all the time, even if I'm out here. So I feel like that's the answer. That eventually I can just rig up an aquarium, whatever you call that, and have that tube just end up in that with like a one-way door, and basically just wait and collect them all there, and then I'll still have mice.
Program?
No, I'll probably just keep them because but I'll just have a better run of the house, where they go, yeah. Because I used to have an owl that lived above this. I've got like this little attic area, and so it's like it'd be a nice. I could give him a big habitat, but yeah, it'd be fun. Why not?
I used to love getting those like connectable tubes.
Yeah, exactly, Nate.
The cages.
Yeah, see, I was thinking I could rig it up with the cameras and have the, during the live stream or something, right? You could go check the mouse cam.
The rat cam.
Yeah.
For cats.
Yeah, like set up little, we could have like a little like band area where it looks like they're like the band, and then I could like check in with the band, see how they're doing over there and stuff.
You could have a little mini drum set.
Yeah, exactly. 3D print them.
Have them play you in and out between breaks.
Yes.
Speaking of playing us out, we have we're about to do some landing here, aren't we, James?
Yep, we're gonna build a mouse airship, and we're gonna get the little helmets on those mice, and we're gonna have a cam set up, and we're gonna say goodnight. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for riding here on Saturday night.
Super fun. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Love you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much,
Bye, everyone in
guys.
the audience.
Bye.
Thank you for riding here. Hope you guys have a good night. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to ride with us sometime, sign up on Patreon. If you like the show, please consider sharing.